And what is going on, hockey fans? It is once again your host of NHL Weekly, Neil Villapiano, and we welcome you to another edition of NHL Weekly right here exclusively on the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel, your number one place to get everything you need to know about what's going on around the National Hockey League. As always, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check these videos out. We have new episodes come out every Monday here on THPN. Make sure if you like what you see to leave a like on the video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you get notified every time a new episode of NHL Weekly comes out. Again, every single Monday. As always, shout out to our sponsors over at DraftKings Sportsbook for sponsoring everything we do here at THPN. And DraftKings has a really great offer for you. When you sign up, make sure to use our promo code THPN to get a bunch of money in just it's not even your money. Honestly, it's just free bets to give you an opportunity to get right into all of the action. There's so much going on right now with college football, bowl games, NHL, NBA, the NFL going on, so much going on. So make sure you jump in on all of the action by signing up with DraftKings and using our promo code THPN. We have some breaking news that I would like to share with you because about 5-6 minutes ago, we got word that Ottawa Senators, now former head coach DJ Smith, has been fired by the Ottawa Senators, and Jacques Martin will take over as interim head coach, and Ottawa Senators legend Daniel Alfredsson has been named an assistant coach for the Senators. So DJ Smith, who before I jumped on today, I was going to talk about DJ Smith and basically say that he was probably the next likely guy on the hot seat that was probably going to get fired. Well, today just happens to be the day. So DJ Smith is out as the Senators head coach, and understandably so. Through 26 games, the Senators are 11-15-0, 22 points, well into dead last in the Atlantic Division. Currently 7 points behind the sixth place Buffalo Sabres. And again, this seemed like it was a long time coming. Since the beginning of the year, there was some pretty, not incredibly high, but some pretty high expectations for the Senators in terms of, wanting them to take the next step, getting back into the playoffs. And they were hoping that maybe DJ Smith would be the guy to do that. And that simply is just not the case. And so, just about 2 months into the season, DJ Smith becomes yet the latest victim of the NHL coaching fire axe. If you remember last Tuesday, which is now less than a week ago, Craig Berube was fired as the Blues head coach. So now we'll see what Jacques Martin can do with this Senators team to see if maybe they can get going here and find a way to maybe get back into some form of a playoff race. Because right now, again, 7 points back in the Atlantic Division. They have a lot of ground to take to catch up. And I don't know if the Senators at this point feel that the season is lost and, things are not going to get any better. I don't know what the vibe is currently in Ottawa, but as of about 10 minutes ago, the Senators made the change and fired DJ Smith as their head coach. And in his replacement is Jacques Martin, who will be the interim head coach. And again, Daniel Alfredsson, a legend, probably the greatest Ottawa Senator of all time, will now be behind the bench as well as an assistant coach. This, again, with hiring a guy like Daniel Alfredsson, you see a lot of teams do this. You bring in a guy who, has been there, knows what it means to be an Ottawa Senator, knows what it means to be a great player for one of your teams, and bringing in a legend, a Hall of Famer, even if he doesn't have the world's greatest amount of coaching experience, may give the team a boost. And so we'll see how the Senators respond to this, because again, they really, really have been struggling of late, and they really need to find a way to kind of get going here. Because again, they've had some really reasonable expectations to try to get back in the playoffs, and it just hasn't been going well at all. Their first game with Jacques Martin behind the bench will be tomorrow in Arizona, 9 p.m. Eastern start time against the Coyotes. They will play 3 times this week. They're in Colorado on Thursday, and then they'll wrap up the week and go into the holiday break at home on Saturday, December 3rd against the Penguins. So Jacques Martin will make his Senators' home debut against the Penguins on Saturday, the 23rd. But yeah, again, DJ Smith relieved of his duties as head coach of the Ottawa Senators. Jacques Martin will take over as the interim general manager, the interim head coach, while Daniel Alfredson will now be an assistant coach under Jacques Martin. So again, more changes behind the bench in the NHL, and we'll see how it all goes down for Ottawa moving forward. Now, let me shift to what I originally had as my main first topic, and that is talking about Jordan Kyrou of the St. Louis Blues. Now, you can already see from this picture, in case you don't know, after Craig Berube was fired past Tuesday, he had some choice words about his relationship with Jordan Kyrou. It clearly rubbed the fans the wrong way, and even though the Blues won over the weekend, Jordan Kyrou was booed a lot by the Blues fans, and it got him to the point where he is in this picture. He broke down, he cried, and he said he really loves being in St. Louis, and it's just tough to hear your fan base boo you like that. And it was, for him, it was a very tough pill to swallow. A lot of the Blues players, and particularly Colton Parayko, said that we love Kyrou, man. He's an integral part of this team, and he didn't deserve that type of treatment. And Kyrou's had a pretty good season. He's played in 30 games, 6 goals, 15 assists for 21 points, has a plus minus of -4. And the big thing is that it's one of those things where you say to yourself, I understand Craig Berube got fired. He really, kind of was free to say whatever he wanted, but especially if he was looking to maybe try to get back into coaching in some degree, kind of, excuse my language, crapping on your fan base, not even on your fan base, on like your former players and things like that, may not be the best way to kind of go out. And I think that was a bit uncalled for in terms of that. You look at the Blues right now; they are currently sitting at. They're currently in 6th place with playing in 30 games. They have 15, 14, and 1, 31 points, just 1 point out of 5th place behind the Coyotes, and currently 7 points out of the top 3, with Dallas and Winnipeg tied at 38 as of right now. So obviously the Blues, in terms of the season, for them really isn't over by any means, but clearly the Blues are getting closer and closer to that realization that they really should try to heavily consider starting to rebuild their team. And that really, once you make that decision, I think then you really have to kind of look at it and say, what exactly, do you do? Like, who's part of your long-term plans? Now, I just want to say that Jordan Kyrou this past offseason signed a 8-year, $65 million contract. He's making about $9 million or so. Well, his base salary is different every single year. His cap hit is at 8.125. So I'm not going to sit here and start speculating that Kyrou would be one of those guys out the door. I think long term, when you look at it, if the Blues decide to rebuild, Jordan Kyrou is going to be that main guy that they build around. And he signed a long-term deal. He wants to be in St. Louis for as long as possible. He won't be an unrestricted free agent until the end of the 2030-31 season. So again, and even if they do trade him, it would require a lot of maneuvering for a lot of teams, because it's a lot of money, and you would be getting him long-term. So you'd have to give up pretty high assets. But really, for me, more of the story with this is just the fact that, again, clearly Kyrou felt very disrespected by his former head coach. He was certainly surprised and very disappointed that the fans kind of didn't side with him on this one. And, you really kind of do feel for Kyrou in a way. And, hopefully as the season goes on, Kyrou can learn to forgive, the fans and everybody, and just try to move on here and try to get back to some winning hockey and get going here, because, we're now into the middle of December, especially for a team that's still trying to get back into a playoff race. They got to get going. They got to start stringing together a couple of wins. But, I think overall, just a really, really, really tough moment there for Kyrou. And hopefully, like I said, he can get kind of beyond that these last couple of difficult days, especially after his former head coach getting fired and making those comments and the fans getting on him. I think hopefully he can get beyond that very, very soon. We did have some really exciting games over the past week. The big one for me was the almost comeback by the Toronto Maple Leafs, who came back from down 5-0 to force overtime before unfortunately losing the game regardless in overtime 6-5 to the Columbus Blue Jackets. You could argue that that might have been the game of the year. I mean, first and foremost, this was one of those games where it shows you that the Toronto Maple Leafs goaltending is very much a mess. And Jones has been struggling, and Samsonov has been struggling, and it's been a tough go of it. And you know that the Leafs are definitely going to be in the market for a goaltender, whomever that might be. But this game was electric. It was, again, the Blue Jackets started off on like a house on fire, just dominating the game. And you look at a score like that and you think to yourself, well, there's really no way that you're going to see a collapse. And the Blue Jackets, if they had ended up losing this game, I think it would have been like kind of just a whole showcase of really how bad this season has been for the Blue Jackets. But they were able to salvage the second point and get the 2 points on the road despite blowing a 5-0 lead, which I'm pretty sure that they're the first team in NHL history to blow a lead that big and still find a way to win. And if you're Toronto, you got to be frustrated because you got off to such a horrific start in that game. Then you come all the way back, force it to overtime, and you still drop the ball and lose the game anyway, even though you still got a point. So that was really, you got to be frustrated for sure if you're a Toronto Maple Leafs fan. And again, the hope is that they can find a way to fix that goaltending, maybe add a little bit of help on the back end as well, and just kind of go from there. So, yeah, crazy game. Again, Maple Leafs down 5-0, come back to tie it at 5 before ultimately losing 6-5 and losing the game still to the Columbus Blue Jackets last week. Now I want to talk a little bit about some more, not really breaking news, but this happened earlier this morning. We got word from Lalonde, the head coach of the Detroit Red Wings, that Dylan Larkin, who it looked like he was expected to be out for a significant amount of time with a lower body injury, will actually be making his return to the lineup after missing just 4 games, as he will be back in the lineup tonight when the Red Wings take on the Anaheim Ducks in the second of a back-to-back for Anaheim. But yeah, this is obviously some really, really big news if you're Detroit. You wanted to obviously get him back in the lineup as soon as possible, and now you do. And you look at the Red Wings since Larkin has been out, it's been tough. They have lost 3 of their last 4. But if you look at this overall month, they've been kind of struggling. And it really started with that 6-5 overtime loss the week before, 2 weeks before, when they lost to the Sharks. Then they lost 5-1 to the Senators. Then they lost to Dallas on the road 6-3. Beat the Blues 6-4 the following night before coming home and losing 2-1 to Carolina. And then on Saturday, they were in Philadelphia and lost 1-0 to the Flyers. So, yeah, the Red Wings have been kind of up and down, but struggling a little bit more than they would like here in the month of December. And certainly the absence of Dylan Larkin it has been playing an effect on them. So getting Dylan Larkin back as quickly as they did when everyone, including myself, expected that he was going to be out for quite some time is honestly just a big relief. Now, we'll see how much of that injury really affects Larkin when he's getting back into the game and playing, and we'll see if it's more that he's forcing himself back into the lineup or he actually is going to be okay to play. But yeah, some big news in terms of just getting guys healthy again for Detroit, and we'll see what Dylan Larkin can do tonight at home against the Anaheim Ducks. Now, we have some pretty cool news to share in terms of the World Juniors, which is coming up starting next week, this time of the year, especially if you're a hockey fan. It's always a big time because the World Junior Championships come up at the end of the year after Christmas and into Boxing Day and into a little bit of the new year. It's a fun time. Team Canada just got a big addition as Matt Poitras of the Boston Bruins. It was announced earlier today that he will be joining Team Canada for the World Junior Championships. And, Poitras, he's been with the Bruins Bruins all year, kind of a surprise out of training camp, the former second-round pick of the Bruins back in 2022. In 27 games, he has scored 5 goals, added 8 assists for 13 points with a solid +3 of a plus-minus. So he has really, really been playing well. He has 2 assists and 2 points in 2 of his last 3 games, so adding some points there. But, he's struggled a little bit more of late in terms of getting some points. He got off to a hot start with the Bruins this year, but he has struggled a little bit of late. And I think the Bruins are honestly making the right decision because they clearly still have a lot of depth. The Bruins have been playing very, very well. And even though having Poitras in the lineup will help, him coming out of the lineup, I think for his development going to play in an international competition, I think will be good for him. I think the Bruins are excited to see what he can do, and he's going to be one of those main guys, along with Kilabrini as well. Representing the defending World Junior Champions, and they'll look for a back-to-back, and they're hoping that a guy like Poitras could be a major catalyst for them making a run in the World Junior Championship. So yeah, Matt Poitras of the Boston Bruins is now joining Team Canada for this year's World Junior Championships. And speaking of the World Junior Championships, we are excited to share that we will be doing live watch-alongs throughout the entirety of this year's World Junior Championships, which will be held in Gothenburg, Sweden, live right here on the THPN YouTube channel. We do live watch-alongs for NHL games, but we also do international games. We've done the Olympics before. We've done the World Junior Championships, and now we're going to be doing them again this year. Really excited. We're going to have games for you every single day, so make sure you guys hit that notification bell so you get notified every time we go live for all of those games and also NHL games as well. We're really excited. You're going to see guys like Kilabrini. You're going to see guys like Matt Poitras and so many others. Going to be a really, really exciting week and a half to 2 weeks of international hockey and seeing the future of hockey and specifically the future of the National Hockey League. So yeah, really excited. And also personally for me, I'm actually going to be covering Team Canada this year for the hockey writers, going to be doing the takeaways from games. Really, really looking forward to that opportunity and kind of getting underway with that. So just wanted to quickly give you guys that little plug there. And lastly, here to wrap up this relatively quick episode, Adam Henrik of the Anaheim Ducks returned once again to his former city in New Jersey. Devils took on the Anaheim Ducks last night, and the Ducks smacked the quack out of the Devils as they blew them out 5-1. But the big story was Adam Henrik getting his first career hat trick against his former team. I think for Adam Henrik, honestly, if there was ever a place to get his first career hat trick, it had to be New Jersey. He is a beloved and respected former Devil. He was traded during the 17-18 season for Sami Vatanen, and obviously Vatanen now is out of the league, but Adam Henrik still playing in the National Hockey League and continuing to be a really good contributor to the Anaheim Ducks, who obviously, again, are having another very, very tough year. But I'm sure for Adam Henrik, this is going to be one of those moments he'll cherish forever. I know for myself as a Devils fan, and, I cover the Devils for a living, that I certainly miss the man they call Uncle Rico. And, who knows what his future holds. He was a guy that was rumored to be traded at the deadline last year. I think his name is going to come up again this year. Probably the Ducks will have to retain some of that salary, but we shall see. Nonetheless, a really, really awesome accomplishment in a big upset win for the Ducks as they were able to get that 5-1 win in New Jersey, and we'll see if Adam Henrik can keep the hot streak going, as again, the Ducks are playing the second of a back-to-back as they'll be in Detroit, as mentioned before, against the Red Wings later on tonight. But yeah, Adam Henrik, his first career hat trick in New Jersey against his former team. Very, very special moment for him. And on that note, hockey fans, that's going to wrap it up for us on this edition of NHL Weekly. As always, thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day to check these videos out. We have new episodes coming out every single Monday right here exclusively on the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel. Again, leave a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified every time a new episode comes out. And also when we have other really awesome content here to become the #1 place for all of your hockey needs. Make sure to follow us on social media, Instagram and Twitter at HockeyPodNet. And also make sure to follow my personal Twitter as well. the MVP show. I'm trying to get to it here. Sorry about that. There you go. So yeah, the MVP show on Twitter as well. And make sure while you're at it, a little self-plug, go check out my podcast, The Devil's State of Mind podcast, which covers everything you need to know about the New Jersey Devils. We have new episodes weekly, and you can follow us on Twitter at Devil's State, Instagram at Devil's State of Mind, and you also can leave us a like on Facebook. We are available wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple, Google, all that good stuff. We're also here on YouTube as well, so you guys should go over and subscribe to the podcast over there as well. Got even more great content coming out for you, so if you want to check out more of my lovely face, again, you can check out the Devil's State of Mind podcast as well. But again, thank you so much for hanging out with us on this edition of NHL Weekly, and we will see you in the next episode. Everyone have a great week ahead. And one last thing I just want to mention, later on this week, myself and my good buddy Kyle Manifold here on THPN will be doing an NHL Weekly special where we will be previewing the 2024 World Junior Championship. So that'll be coming out later this week into next week. So make sure, again, you guys are notified so you know when that video comes out. Gonna be a lot of fun. But again, everyone have a great week, hockey fans, and make sure to rock on.